Hi, my name is Jeff Pagano, and welcome to the Harping on Rugby preview show. Joining me to look ahead to Leinster's first home outing of the season at the Aviva Stadium is someone back for his 91st cap. A warm welcome to Mr. Neil Keego Keegan.
Happy Friday. The summer is over, but the kids are still wearing shorts on the way to school. It's getting cold now.
It is absolutely. And well, speaking of cold, wet places, what did you make of the win in Edinburgh last Friday?
Well, after the opening game last season, I just wanted to win. I enjoyed the highlights. I didn't enjoy the scoreline against us. I enjoyed the win. There were some great pieces of play. You can see our new attack coach slowly slipping into the game. Day one, happy with it. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a bit closer than we might would have liked at the end, but
Mm.
I did like the way we responded when Edinburgh did get the odd score. I mean, they literally came back from the restart pretty much each time, and there was some good chasing and stuff. You know, it's still stuff to work on, but you can't sneeze at 5 points on the road in your opening game.
Yeah.
I mean, we're already 5 points up on what we did last season, so there you go. Okay, so now it's time to look at our feature match of the week, which was, of course, Leinster v Dragons in round two of the 24-25 United Rugby Championship. This game is taking place at the Aviva Stadium on Friday, September 27th, kicking off at 7:30 p.m. TV coverage is on TG Cahir, Premier Sports 1, and URC.tv. Leinster named their matchday squad on Thursday lunchtime. If you're watching on YouTube, it should be right there on the screen, or for pod listeners, it's in the program notes. Well, Keego has a couple of points here to make about the Leinster lineup, starting with one he's entitled The Protector.
100%. I stole that from someone in our WhatsApp group. No, it's great to see. Like, we've seen him make cameos for quite a while, and to just see him step up game one of the season. There's obviously pressure there, on the whole team going through this year, and he played a blinder last week. He really played well. And it's to the point now. If he keeps this momentum going, someone's got to take the jersey off him as opposed to just switching selections. So he's in there at 12 this week, Friday night rugby, love it. He's in there at 12, and if he keeps going, the old hench has a bit of work on to get that jersey off him. I'm delighted for him, and if he keeps going, it's his jersey.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen this the past couple of seasons. We've gone for this at this stage of the season. We've kind of converted out halves into playing 12. But this is kind of different to that. I mean, we lost one Charlie last season playing number 12, and they've not only converted him to the 12 channel, but he's really bulked up
Yeah.
and he's doing the carrying. Kind of reminds me of a player we had a while ago, Connor O'Brien, whose career got cut short. That kind of strong carrier, and he did, like you say, he did really well. He's almost like he's like a new signing, effectively, and he's filling a very important role. And of course, we've got, like you say, Henshaw and Jordy Barrett coming in, who are pretty good at that position as well. But he's making a name for himself, and he's pretty much going. He's been called up to the emerging Ireland tour as well. He'll probably be going shortly after this game. So it's starting to look up for him, when he was looking like fourth or fifth in the Leinster pecking order at out half, but now they found a new role for him.
I was just going to say as well, it's great that there are more players who have experience at 10 around the pitch. And like, there's obviously with the boot they all have, it's great as well, but they know how a 10 thinks, which really helps in where they're supposed to be all around the pitch. But like, he is quite different to Charlie. I think his footwork is slightly better, with all due respect to Charlie. And I think some of the work he did last week in Edinburgh was really class. So if we just let him go, give him a bit of momentum, give him a bit of time, then there's a lovely little bit of scrap there for that 12 jersey. And I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, he's part of a strong backline as well. It's a different halfback pairing. We've got McGrath
Yeah.
and Ross Byrne starting. Jimmy O'Brien, great to see his name back in
Yeah.
the team sheet. He's on the wing. Larmer played really well last week, and Jamie Osborne at fullback. It's really good looking backline there. Okay, your second point is going into the pack and talking about our man, Mr. James Ryan.
Yeah, and it's a tough part of the year, between the years, for him, because going from captain and co-captain and all that responsibility back into, he's still obviously a leader. But my favorite, there was a skip pass last week that he kind of lined up two phases previous, if you're watching it back. And I was kind of going, okay, not only is he playing angry, which is great, we love to see that, but he's playing with a skill level that is increasing as we go. And it's just, if you go back and watch the highlights, I think it's in every highlight package. It's a skip pass for one of the tries. It might be, I can't remember which try. and I'm just watching it, and you just give a round of applause. It's a calmness about him, a calm, aggressive skill about him, and I think if you can get a run injury free, it's great in the blue jersey, it's great in the green jersey. We need him on the pitch. He's a leader, he's a captain even without the armband. And it was great to see. I think I really want him to do well long term this season because we need him in the knockout rugby. We need this James Ryan in knockout rugby. You combine that with all the other players coming in and working well, but I was delighted to see him, similar to Tector, to put in that big shift last weekend.
Absolutely, and possibly maybe having there was all confusion over the captaincy last season. There was co-captains, all that kind of stuff. I think they handled that pretty well. They went for Kale and Doris over the both co-captains. And it was interesting last week. Both Doris wasn't playing. Both Ringrose and Ryan were playing, but they still went with Conan
Yeah.
as the captain, which I thought was an interesting choice. I think Ryan might play well. He's still a senior player on the team, and he likes the responsibility. But maybe having dealing with the ref and all that kind of stuff, and he can just concentrate in his game. I think it's working wonders. Yeah, it's an interesting lineup for Leinster. It's a strong bench. There's a lot of strong names coming back. You see Joe McCarthy on the bench, Josh Van der Flier. But there's some young names as well. Eitzal King is 23. Fintan Gunn is the backup scrum half. So there's a lot of youth and experience kind of going on there. But it's a strong 23 all around for the home opener for sure.
Yeah, 100%. And just a quick shout out to Cian Healy, 281. I don't know what they're feeding him, but they just got to keep feeding him. It's unbelievable. He's actually got nearly as many caps for Leinster as I do for Harping on Rugby, so it's pretty impressive.
And steady on. Not that bad.
But it is a beautiful thing, especially in that position for him to be that consistent with the injuries he's had, still racking up that number. It's going to be unbelievable. And listen, there's plenty of gas in him. Like whatever age he is, 57. I don't know what age he is, but there's so much gas in that tank. They should call him hybrid because it's just unreal. So I'm really excited about this weekend.
Yeah, he was already playing for Leinster when we started harping on rugby. That pretty much says it all, Okay, well, let's now have a quick look at the Dragons. Last season, they finished 15th in the 16-team URC with just 3 wins, and they were the league's lowest try scorers. In the Challenge Cup, they failed to make the knockouts with just 1 win out of 4. This season, however, has gotten off to a decent start with the last gasp try earning them victory over the Ospreys at Rodney Parade and also helping my disastrous start to the Harpin Super Brew League. Talk about no good deed going unpunished. I actually reminded Keego didn't make his first 2 picks, so I got onto him and said, would you make your goddamn picks? He did. He ended up scoring more points than me, so that's the way it works out. What do you make of the Dragons?
Just repeat that last line again for me, Jeff. Just no, look, similar. I think the Dragons they're looking for a consistency of performance. They don't really care how they get it. It's tough for them to see Leinster at home. It's going to be jam packed on Friday night. Look, if it goes the way it's supposed to go, it's going to be a tough day at the office for them. But they've got to show a stubbornness. They've got to show, they've got to do the basics and work their way up from there. There's nothing in that team that would, with all due respect, worry us. But we've still got to show up and put a score on at home. So I think what they're looking for is getting the basics right, getting up, making the tackles or as many tackles as they can, and just getting out there and leaving it all out there, and then just going back to the drawing board. And when you're saying they finished 15th out of 16th, you're kind of going, it's tough. It's tough to go to Leinster, and it's tough to look at that team and look at that bench, knowing what's happened. So they've got to be stubborn. They've got to be stubborn Welsh and see how we get on.
Absolutely. Their head coach, Di Flanagan, basically gave the sort of standard response when asked about playing Leinster. He says, Leinster bring everything. Ireland have just been announced as the #1 team of the world, and I'm sure there's like 20 internationals in the Leinster squad. So he's definitely playing down his team's chances. But, like you say, against any of these games, you can't afford to rest in your laurels. And Leinster will definitely need to get off to a good start. That's for sure. Okay, so a quick look at the officials. Mike Addison of Scotland holding the whistle with the Scottish TMO as well, Irish assistance. The weather for Dublin 4 on Friday evening is meant to be mostly clear and chilly. Like Keego said, it's starting to get chilly all right around Dublin, especially in the evenings. Not much wind and very little chance of rain, so it should be an okay evening once you wrap up. Okay, so Keego, well, before we go on, we'll have a quick look at the rest of the URC schedule. The provinces, Ulster are on South African tour. I
Yep.
wouldn't mind if Leinster could get that done at this stage of the season instead of doing it after the Six Nations. This is our fourth season in a row having to do it then. But anyway, listen, Ulster have gone down there. They're playing the Lions. Munster travel to Zebra, and Connacht host the Sharks.
Yeah, and Connacht at home against the Sharks. Galway is going to be even colder than Dublin, and so I think I think they can start getting a bit of momentum. Like all the games last week involving the Irish provinces were really, really close. So I think I don't think they're disheartened or anything from last week in Thomond Park, and it was only 1 point, was it 2 points,
2
1 point.
points, yeah.
So it is just it is the momentum is there for them. Mac got through it, so I Connacht are my second team, and I want them to really put the shift in and turn over the Sharks. In a cold Galway, it's going to be sold out. They're probably on. It's a Saturday game, so they're probably been on the whiskey to stay warm. So yeah, I don't think the Sharks will fancy it.
Yeah, and the Sharks are having a good year. They didn't get off to a good start in the URC, but they went on to win the Challenge Cup, and then just last week they won the Curry Cup.
Yeah.
So they'll be on a high coming in there, but they'll want to get their URC campaign off to a decent start, and they're coming up against a strong kind of team. So we'll see how that works out. Okay, back to our main match. Head on the block time. How do you see it going in the Aviva?
Well, I think going off my victory over you in Super Brew last week, I think I Leinster need a big win. This is going to be a big one, and I think it's 2 to 3 scores. I think, unfortunately for our visitors, as long as they have fun in the stadium, because it won't be fun for the team on the pitch. So Leinster by 3
I wouldn't go.
scores.
I wouldn't go addressing an envelope with that jersey just yet. But no, definitely. I think Leinster. I mean, Leinster are obviously going to be heavy favourites for this.
Yeah.
They'll need to get off to a strong start, make the most out of that strong team they've selected. But yeah, I'd agree with you there. Okay, man, we're going to leave it there for now. Many thanks for joining us, Keego. What stand-up gigs do you have coming up?
I'm off in the cold tonight to Drogheda, beautiful Drogheda, the Crescent Comedy Club. So that's going to be the next one, and then we get into writing a few more jokes before we get back out on the road. So if anyone's in Drogheda, pop on in.
Brilliant. And many thanks to y'all for checking out our latest preview show. Next up, we won't actually have our regular slot this weekend on Dublin South FM, but they'll resume the following Friday after the 5 o'clock news. Then be sure to enjoy the match wherever you are and leave a comment on our Facebook page after the full-time whistle. And we will, of course, have a wrap pod for you this weekend recording on Sunday evening. Hopefully you'll help us out by liking, sharing, and subscribing. In the meantime, stay safe, everyone. Slán.